the attack on Pearl Harbor is back in the spotlight. For over 20 years, America had refused to fight, maintaining a policy of isolationism that kept it out of global wars, until one single day changed everything forever. On December 7, 1941, the surprise attack by Japan on the U.S. naval base in Hawaii drew a hesitant nation into the largest conflict in human history. Why does this matter? This single event not only triggered America's entry into World War II, but also reshaped its role on the world stage for decades to come, ending its era of non-intervention. With the world already engulfed in conflict and tensions with Japan at their peak, this attack was the final, decisive blow. Stay tuned, because what happened in the Pacific that day would define the course of the 20th century. The aftermath of World War I is back in the spotlight. Just this week, we're looking back at how America's promise of never again shaped its foreign policy for decades. The nation's response, a firm turn towards isolationism. Why does this matter? This policy saw Congress pass multiple neutrality acts and a widespread public rejection of foreign wars, shaping global politics. With America believing the vast oceans were its ultimate shield and Europe inching closer to another conflict, this diplomatic chess game was becoming more dangerous. Stay tuned, because what was happening across the Atlantic would hit closer to home than anyone imagined. American isolationism is back in the spotlight. While the world spiraled into chaos, the US looked inward. Germany fell to Hitler, Europe began to burn, and Japan launched a violent expansion across Asia. President Franklin D. Roosevelt's response? A stark warning that America cannot remain safe in a world ruled by dictators. But most Americans disagreed, believing, "This is not our war, why does this matter?" This deep-seated isolationism wasn't just policy, it was a core part of American identity, shaping the nation's slow response to global aggression. With authoritarianism once again on the rise globally, this chapter of history is getting a second look. Stay tuned, because the echoes of the past could shape America's role in the world today more than you think. The path to World War II is back in the spotlight. Even while officially neutral, America was steadily drifting toward conflict. The US began supplying Britain with weapons and supporting China against an expanding Japan. Its own navy was rapidly strengthened. To many Americans, these were defensive measures. But to Japan, they looked like a direct threat. When the US cut off Japan's vital oil supply, the message was unmistakable. Tokyo's imperial ambitions would not be tolerated. With diplomacy failing and tensions rising, war was no longer just a possibility. It was becoming an inevitability. Stay tuned, because the decisions made in Washington and Tokyo would soon change the world forever. The attack on Pearl Harbor is once again in the historical spotlight. It was December 7, 1941, a peaceful Sunday morning. Suddenly, the sky was filled with hundreds of Japanese aircraft launching a surprise attack on the US naval base. The response, chaos and devastation. Battleships exploded and sank, and over 2,400 Americans were killed in less than 2 hours. Why does this matter? The attack shattered America's policy of isolationism, catapulting the nation directly into World War II and fundamentally reshaping its role on the global stage. With this single event, the course of the 20th century was forever altered. Stay tuned, because the lessons learned from that day continue to influence international politics and military strategy even now. Israel's war cabinet is back in the spotlight. Just this past weekend, Israeli strikes hit a displacement camp in Rafah, sparking a global outcry and calls for investigation. Spain, Ireland, and Norway's response? Formally recognizing a Palestinian state, a move aimed at pushing for a two-state solution. Why does this matter? These actions are intensifying diplomatic pressure on Israel and could reshape alliances in the Middle East and beyond. With international courts examining the conflict and humanitarian concerns mounting, this geopolitical firestorm is only getting more complex. Stay tuned, because what's happening in the Middle East has consequences that are being felt across the entire globe. The end of World War II is back in the spotlight. Just this month, we're looking back at a pivotal moment in history. Not just a military victory, but a global transformation. America's response, it stepped onto the world stage, taking on new responsibilities for global security and shedding its policy of isolation for good. Why does this matter? This shift led to the America we know today, one that builds alliances like NATO, shapes global institutions like the UN, and actively influences the modern world. With new challenges emerging on the global stage, understanding this historic pivot is more crucial than ever. Stay tuned. because the decisions made decades ago still define the world we live in today. Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor is back in the spotlight. The surprise assault was meant to cripple the U.S. Pacific Fleet and keep America out of the war. The result? It woke a sleeping giant and ended American isolationism for good. Why does this matter? This single event propelled the United States onto the world stage, making it a central player in global politics and conflicts ever since. From the ashes of that Sunday morning, America emerged as a superpower, reshaping the international order. Stay tuned, because the echoes of that day still define the world we live in.